Hello, good morning and happy Thursday. Sorry for missing yesterday, but I went out and had went out to a meetup for the first time in a long time. There's this sort of like happy hour for just local developers, and there's a lot of ex-coworkers that I've been with, a lot of other people that I know. It was really nice to sort of go hang out with them. Ended up staying out way too late, so decided to just sleep in and skip the stream. But we are back today, and we're continuing to work on authentication. So where we left off last time was with we're creating cookies. So I can create the sign up link, and that takes me to this page. So it's now actually the ability to sign up. The tattoo technologist, hello. Evening for you. Well, good evening. Sleep-ins are nice occasionally. Oh yeah, they are. And then it's I think it's because like I still didn't get like more than 8 hours of sleep, so it wasn't like too much. But yeah, it is super nice. Okay, so I can now sign in with this, and when I do that, it's going to take me back to here, which I don't think necessarily we're handling this yet and doing anything with it, but we're gonna need to do something with that. So that being said, let's do a sign up. Let's create a just do my public account here. So that says. I have control with this, so I will always be able to reset this. Okay, so this is always interesting that it asks this. I'm pretty sure there's a way to make this not appear, but I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, we're going to accept, and we get back to a 404 page, which is my 404 page. Okay, so it does a it takes me to a callback. I get the access token, so that's great. But we're going to /auth/callback, so we need to handle that. And so let's see. So I have views here for the routes of handling this. I wonder if I want to create a view. Well, let's look in here. So basically, we're going to have a /auth/callback route. And in that route, we're going to store the tokens. We need to get the token out of the URL. We need to compare the state, and then we're either going to show an error message of like, hey, you're like not logged in, or we're going to redirect you back home again, but now we have data in our storage for like, or in our state for like, hey, we are logged in, everything's great. So I wonder if this should be a I wonder if I should, well, yeah, I think I should probably do a, just a component for this. Just like a normal page component. Then I can throw this in here and it will return HTML, and then part of it will be a front end redirect to home or maybe something else. We'll see. So under views, we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this auth callback. So I probably won't actually put anything in here. Or maybe this will be the error message. Oh, that might be it. This is probably what will have the error message. But till then, we'll go back to routes. Router. I like the idea of the 404 not found down here. So I want the next one. We'll do this as at. Okay, so the code should compile. It should be happy with this. So now when I come back, actually, yeah, now instead of a 404, I'm getting this auth callback. I can go ahead and use this same sort of like state that we're in. The state should be the same as what I have here. We already have the URL. Create, I should be able to use that to extract out this information, which now that I'm looking at it, oh, and I remember now. This is interesting because they're not using query parameters as part of this. They're using fraction. No, what are these called? These are when it's a hash. It's something else, and I forget what it's called. Should be able to find it through the URL create though. I know, because it's not really an anchor, but it's kind of using that. But we'll get into that a little bit. Also, are you? This is interesting that we get the light background here, and I don't get a black background or a darker background for those two pages. I wonder why that is. I still get the shapes and everything else. I don't think it's... Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I want... Okay, styles. Just for the... Oh, look at this. Okay, for the entire body, I've got this background color here. Okay, that's interesting. Where did I set... But okay, and then if I go to any place else, like localhost 8080, we get this background color. Yeah, so this is set in main.css line 6, which is not being set elsewhere. It's main.css. I think is under here in static main CSS. Yeah, we have like body background color is that. Reboot Sass is setting the background color to something else. which is Bootstrap. But that's very interesting that that's hitting that. I am applying main CSS after I'm applying Bootstrap. That's interesting. I don't know why I'll be doing that. I'm copying. Okay, so I'm copying static over too. So the main CSS is there. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, oh, a different route would not have that loaded. I guess in here, can we see? Is main CSS loaded? Wait, what? Okay, so I've got, can I see the code in here? Oh, I don't actually know if I can see the CSS downloaded here. I guess we can see the network. So I want .css, star.css. Oh, I can just click on CSS. There we go. Shouldn't I see you grab the CSS? How is this loading then at all if it's not getting the CSS? Okay, there's main CSS. Hold on. Oh, okay, wait a second. If I do a shift refresh, main CSS gets loaded up now. Got it. Okay, so if I do... Okay, you're loading up as main CSS. I want... Oh, well, okay, that's clearly an issue. And there's a console error. The style sheet was not loaded because its MIME type text.html is not text CSS. So here for this auth callback, this is, or for this page, the main.css is loading up as our index.html page. And that's probably because I can't find it. So if we take a look here, style sheet, it's going to, oh, look at that. It's going to auth, then static main CSS. Okay. I need it to go to just static main CSS. And there we go. That fixed it. So when I went to /auth, /callback, it replaced the most recent one that I had, the most recent part of the URL, with the static, but because it didn't have a slash on it, it kept the auth. So it thought that I was in a directory farther in, which is not correct. I wanted to go from the root of the project, go to static. So I need that slash there. Okay, one fun bug completed. So let's see. Next thing, we come back and I need to get access to this URL right away. So that's gonna be the first thing we grab in here. Is I need. Now maybe I can use effect. When it loads, the URL should be present, so I should be able to grab it. Okay, so fragment, that's what it's gonna call it. We're gonna use the fragment of it. So that's URL equals right, I shouldn't call it the same thing as the same name as the package. Let's see, it's gonna be URL. I guess we're gonna parse. And then that's gonna be an input string. Okay, so let maybe I can just do this all in one inside of here. So we'll do glue utils window location. And then I want to do, okay, so give me the href. You're going to give that to me as a result with a string. So you should always be successful in that. That's a lot there. I think what I'll do is let's sort of like the raw I guess I can call it like the raw URI equals if let okay. What if I want to do a match here? Then we'll do this. Okay, so if it's okay, we're going to get the URI and return it. If there's an error, we're going to get an error. And we can do a log error. Okay, so this is going to be error getting or error parsing URL in auth callback. Okay, that may or may not be helpful. But now I have, and that's great for one thing, but I can't have this be both. So then we'll panic, so we now know that we're just going to be getting this this URI or nothing else. Okay, so we have this URI. Then we're going to have a parsed URL, and we're going to parse the raw URI. Okay, this is a result. So once again, this should be okay. So let's match you. Okay, so error parsing, auth callback URI. All right, so now I have a parsed URL. So then here I should be able to use this. So parse URL dot, I want fragment, returns this URL's fragment identifier. So that's using that hash symbol. It's usually like an ID for an anchor tag, but it can also be other things, which is, this is where it gets odd. So they're kind of using this as extra data. Yeah, because they have like an and here too. Okay, so let's get the fragment out next. So we have parsed URL that fragments. I mean, fragment params doesn't seem right, but these are the params equals SQL dot fragment. Okay, you're an option. I suppose that you can come to this and we won't get any. So we'll have Flint Rusty, hello. If let sum params equal to this. Yeah, the key value pairs are interesting. You don't do much web stuff, so you haven't really seen that before. Yeah, the only place I've ever seen this is through Auth0. So I don't know if it's like they just made some very interesting choices, or if it's just one of those more sort of like back-end type devs that are doing APIs meant to be consumed on the front end and not really understanding what the best practices are. I don't know. Or maybe they did this all before like before some like other things were available. I don't know. It's all very weird and odd, and like it doesn't work with normal web APIs. So now I have to handle this because like no URL library is going to handle query parameters inside of a fragment. Do I know, or does any of us know, why bank and other fintech companies still using COBOL in their core system? I mean, there's a lot of really good reasons for it, and there's a lot of really not great reasons for it. The good reasons are that it's extremely dangerous for them to switch over, and that is like the big reason. It's just dangerous. Think about migrating to like any other system. How much when you're doing that, and especially when you have something where software has been, what does it cost if they switch over? So the cost is the cost is actually not how much money it would cost to switch over. It's the opportunity cost while they switch over, because it's a big enough system that they won't be able to do it all at once. So there'll be downtime. Downtime, especially for a bank, is lethal, because they can't just be down for a week or possibly even a full day. And if they are, that's really bad for them. So that's why. Like, they just can't afford the downtime for it. So they keep on putting it off over and over and over again. COBOL developers are super rare, as you heard. Well, yeah, like there's not very many, and most of them don't really want to work in COBOL, from what I hear. There's like some of those banks I've heard have been doing training programs to teach COBOL to like senior developers if they want to. So like that's the thing, is like there'll always be a group of developers willing to like learn this stuff and work on it. And as long as the hardware still supports it, then they'll be fine. That's the thing though. Eventually there might not be hardware that supports it. And that's when everything falls apart and they have no choice but to do an emergency switchover. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they're developing new systems sort of behind the scenes. But it takes that takes a long time. But yeah, that's the short end of it. Is the reason why banks are not going over is because it's more expensive than it sounds. And it already sounds pretty expensive because those systems are very old, very large, very complex. Who knows how well documented they are or not. And which language would be a good replacement for COBOL? You know, I don't know. It's like, in my opinion, I don't know. I would probably have to like sit down and actually like think if I was a bank and like I wanted to go with all this stuff, because it would be very easy to say like, oh, let's just use Rust, or let's use something else. But there's a lot of considerations because you want to get another 50 years out of this, and so that's another consideration. Like we is Rust really going to last for another 50 years? Is it going to be that popular? Like maybe C++ or C is a good idea for this, to switch over to that. Even though it's also an old language, it's still very strong in its like lifetime. And so it's probably going to be around for another 50 years easily. So the fragment hash isn't sent to the server and has to be handled client side apparently. So they have done it for security, I guess. Oh, that is very interesting. Oh, that's a really good point. So they did it for security purposes. That actually makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Tattooed Technologist. That makes a lot of sense. So now, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so the URI fragment doesn't go here. Let me grab up chat on this computer so I can go to that URL. Let's copy link. So yeah, URI fragment. So fragments depend on the document MIME type and are evaluated by the client. Clients are not supposed to send, I like that. Clients are not supposed to send URI fragments to servers when they retrieve a document. And without help from a local application, fragments do not participate in HTTP redirections. That's also nice. Okay, so if there's a redirect that happens, so that won't make its way to me. All right, that's good to know. So with that in mind, it would actually be nice if the URL crate were to handle essentially fragment queries, or if like that were to become an official thing. But okay, so if I have my params here, let's take a look at what this is. The URL crate, Sisu, hello. URL crate uses and exports form URL encoded, which has a parse method to return an iterator over key value pairs. Oh, so I wonder if I can get this. So let's take a look at what we have. So let's do glue, glue console log. Let's take a look at these params. Are you not running? See, I'm on console. Okay. I was sort of expecting to see the console here. But I can't. So what's going on with that? So this is an auth callback, and we are in, so /auth /callback, okay. We have this auth callback h1 that I see here. Okay, so I know we're on the right page. I wonder if the URL isn't loaded yet. Do I have to use like a use effect to make sure it runs after the load? And why don't I get this? Like I would imagine that I can get a glue console log running here. Yeah, I want logs. Did we get an error in? I don't have an error here. Trunk. Oh, we got an error here. So REST Analyzer is nice, but sometimes I accidentally bring in libraries that I don't want to bring in, and then bad things happen. Okay, here we go. Here's we have our access token. We have all this stuff. So I want to take this and then use URL to give me the key pairs for this. I wonder if I need to like just grab a I know, but I like the auto imports most of the time. Just sometimes when I'm typing stuff, I accidentally import stuff that I don't want to. So it's really, I just want it to know what I really mean and just do that. Okay, so what do I want to do? I don't need you anymore. We have these params. So I suppose that I need to add in. So okay, let's just create a very basic. Let's create a basic URL. We can just do like localhost or something. Oh wait, can I just do that? It's like URL. Convert byte string into the application unit syntax and editor name. Use parse input as bytes to parse a stir string. Okay. So I want to do okay, so this, they're gonna do params as bytes. All right, so this is gonna be, now this is an iterator into an iterator of name value pairs. Okay, so if I do, for, I guess this is gonna be like the URL, the parameter. So, key value. The fact that I'm not getting type hints on this is not nice, but it's compiling, so there's that. So let's try glue sol log key and value. Or let's just take a look at the key, right? Let's just see what the keys are. Oh, you don't like that. Oh, so it's a cow. It's a cow stir. Okay, so you're a. Oh, interesting. Okay, so if I hover over it, it tells me, Uncle Scientist, hello. Drive, read my mind. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so it's a cow stir. I want to. Can I deref it? Is that how I get this out? I probably could have done the deref on the other side, as opposed to just implement deref this way. But there we go. Okay, so we can now see access token scope expires in token type and the state. So excellent. Bullfrostad, hello. Okay, so that's great. Now, I don't want to do anything unless the state matches. So I need to grab the state out of the cookie. So I'm going to go into our utilities. So we have like set cookie. We have a couple of these other things in here. I think what I'm going to do, I think I am going to like break these out. So we're going to have like a cookie section. And then I'll move set cookie. I think that's the only one of the cookie stuff I have in here. So I'll move you in here. Okay, so you're happy, navbar, you're unhappy. Oh, right, because I want, okay, so utilities, I then want this to be cookie, set cookie. All right, you're all happy again. Back to here. So we have set cookie, and then I want a pub function get cookie. So we're gonna have the key as a stir. Let's do an option string. Thank you for hanging out, Tattoo Technologist, and have a great night. All right, so we're gonna get the documents. We have this unchecked into. So now this is getting me a document. So I'm doing this twice here. I kind of want to move this into the mod. So I feel like this one is probably fine inside of here. So we're gonna do a pub function get HTML document. And this should always work. So I'm going to take you. So you're going to return HTML document. So I don't need that. Okay, so we get the HTML document, and then I want to grab the cookies. So it's probably going to be a match. It depends. Okay, so if I do document dot document dot cookie getter for the cookie field object. Okay, which gets me a result with a string. That gets me all the cookies, right? So I assume this is all the cookies. So let's do now. If there's an error here, probably want to know what this is. I don't want you to return anything. What are you upset about? Oh, expected an option. Right, because yeah, that thing. Totally forgot. So I want none. None for right now. Okay, so then we're gonna call get cookie from auth callback. So at this point in time, we have our key value pair. I want to get, I want to now get the cookies at this point. So let, I want like the state, like state from cookie. I'm not going to do anything with it right now because it's going to log as soon as I try to get them. And I'm curious about that. So, okay, here we go. So, oh, that's fun how it loaded that many times. So I guess like when it initially loads, then there's a couple more state refreshes that causes this to then log out, to cause it to reload this component that many times. I might need to use a use effect to make sure it runs only once. Also, I can use the use hooks crate, and it's not use effect then, it's there's a use hook for like one thing. Oh, I could collect it into a hash map. That's true. But anyways, I'm trying to get the state out of the cookie now. And so this is a string. And so oh yeah, look at this. Okay, so it's a single string with all the cookies. So we have like test cookie. Do I have 3 cookies? Oh. Oh. I have 4 cookies. I have these tests that are sitting here. So hold on. I want to delete. Wait a second. Why are you back? Am I still setting a test cookie? Yes, I am. Okay, well that's a problem. So I don't need to set a test cookie every single time that the app loads. That's like a waste. Yeah, we could probably collect the iterators into a hash map. That'll probably make it a little bit easier. So, all right, so I want to delete you. Okay, so now I just have this cookie. So now this one cookie has just this stuff. Oh, you're talking about like, well, yeah, I could also just manually create cookies too, and work with that. But okay, so I want, I guess like the other way that this works, like if I were to create another cookie of just like, you know, more test. Is that literally the word value? That is. More test equals value. And it looks like it's semicolon delimited. So I can probably split off of semicolon. And then that will give me this. And that would be fine. Or we can find a crate that handles sort of like this cookies and deal with that too. Either way would probably work. My auth state doesn't, I believe, have equal signs. I believe it's just alphanumeric. So what I can do is, so in get cookie, I can split. Okay, so we have our cookies here. Let's split the cookies. And then I suppose, okay, so if I split the cookies, that's going to give me a vector or an array. Pattern. Pattern can be a single character, so split at that. Now, wait, is it ampersand? No, it's semicolon. What am I doing? Semicolon. Okay. Looks like there's also a space here afterwards. So I might be able to split on semicolon space, which then wouldn't be... Okay, it would be like this. You are going to return a split. The returned iterator will be a double-ended iterator. Okay, so I could then loop through this. Okay, so I could also collect this into a vector. Thank you, Homeless. Although I haven't gotten a haircut now for a month and a half. Almost 2 now? Something like that. So it is growing out a little bit. But yeah, it was like a year before my previous one. So there was it's a long time before I get back to that same length. I don't know if I'm going to let it get that bad again. I could then do a find. So I could do a find instead. Because I have an iterator here. So if I do cookie split, I want to find. So we're gonna predicate. What do we got? It's just this. Oh, right. So it's the it's like an individual cookie. Which is now a something equals something. So then I would want to further split on an equal. So in a way, I would rather map this. It's very unhappy here. Oh, wait. Did I do this wrong? Oh, I took off the wrong. Okay, so we're going to split. Okay, we're going to split on semicolon space. And then we're going to map this. Okay, so we're going to have a cookie, sort of like a cookie string. And I want to return another split from this. cookie dot split on equal sign. Then I want to find so this is, I think we're gonna have something like this, where it's like key value. No, okay. We're gonna have something. Oh, which is a split character. So I might want to collect it. I want to collect it together because that's going to be really hard for me to check to see what it is. Okay, so before I do the find, we do a collect into a vec of probably string. Oh, no, I do want that. Hey, are you... What are you upset about? Expected unit type, unknown, found vector of string, consider semicolon here. Okay, okay. So, then we find... Oh, so back to iterator. Oh, collect inside of the map. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, wait, that's a good idea. So I do split, then we'll collect inside of here. Can you figure it out what do you need to be? Maybe not, maybe. You can. Unused return value of collect that must be used. Okay, so far that's happy. So I don't necessarily need to use this collect. Can I now find? What are you? You're an unknown. Well, that's cool. So I have a map, which then I collected here. So now, okay, I have a map of split stir. I don't actually know that that's helpful. What if I should just do this one at a time and like create a hash map from this in another function? So like pass it in like the entire string, and then just do this down here somewhere. Where you can register cheap domain names, Amazon AWS or Google domains. I mean, cheap, neither really. I would say your best bet for cheap would be something like namecheap.com. There's a few others, but Namecheap is pretty good. I've used it in the past for a few different things. I like them a lot. They've also like sponsored lots of like beginners at like hackathons and other stuff. Cloudflare might be a good option too. Although I've never used them for DNS registration, so I don't really know what their pricing is. But yeah, I would probably not use Amazon or Google for registering the DNS. Google's is like their minimum seems to be $12 per year, and you can get better for some domains. Maybe. But if you want Google, I guess like that, the next question is like, if you want Google or Amazon to also control it for you, then when you transfer it over to them, they might charge you $12 a year either. Cloudflare is cheaper than Namecheap, but you have to use their DNS, so maybe not the best option. So yeah, it really depends also, like, who do you want to control the DNS name? Because like that's gonna be another thing to like keep into consideration here. If you want Google to control it, then yeah, just buy it through Google. If you want Amazon AWS to control it, then probably buy it through AWS. If you want, if you don't care about that and you're okay with like Namecheap to control it or Cloudflare to control it, then maybe Cloudflare or Namecheap would be good ideas. But I would shop around. But here's the next thing. Don't shop around by using the real domain name that you're planning on purchasing. There are some bots that are sort of like watching the queries for some of those, and if you hit them, they might try to buy them before you do. So if you find that it's available, buy it immediately, because you might find somebody auto squats it and then tries to sell it to you later for a much higher price, which sucks. It's happened to me in the past a few times, which I hate. I've never paid the squatters. I always just, okay, well, I guess I'm making a different domain name now. Okay, well, I kind of want to create like a private function for, let's just like parse cookie format. And I do wonder if there's a crate for this, because that might just make it easier. So HTTP cookie parsing and cookie jar management. So there's this. Has a pretty large number of downloads. Does Glue have anything cookie wise? So hold on, let's parse cookies. Let's take in the cookies, which is going to be a stir. And we're going to return probably a hash map, but I'll just do nothing for right now. Is my educational website online? Sort of. If you go to brooksbuilds.com, you'll see what I've got so far, which is not very much. I've got welcome to Brooks Builds, and then if you just if you go to like a bad website, it takes you to a 404 page. That's pretty much all I've got right now. We're working on authentication next, which will be when I push that up, that will eventually go, they'll eventually deploy out here too. Okay, so what I want to see here is, I want to, that cookie, like, I guess this is gonna be parsed cookies equals parse cookie, pass it a reference to the cookies, and I'll deal with that later. So then down here, okay, so glue. Do I have anything here to help out? So we have console, dialogues, events, file, working files and blobs. Okay, that's probably not what I want. HTTP request library for WASM apps, WebSys fetch and WebSocket API. Okay, that's not what I want. Render. Web storage API? I don't think. No, yes. This is like local storage, session storage. So that's not what I want. Some guys doing tutorials on YouTube. Like, yeah, so I do have 3 tutorial series on YouTube right now. one for Yew.rs, one for creating a entity component system, and one for deploying to DigitalOcean. Okay, so timers, utils. Now this is where I can get like body and document, that kind of stuff, but that's not really helpful. Those are just like APIs. And then worker. So I don't think glue is going to help me. So perhaps you can help. So we can get cookie and oh, I can use this to create the cookies too. So that might be good. And then we can probably find them. So I kind of like the idea of doing that. So if I use the cookie, to construct a cookie with only name value, use cookie new. Parse a cookie from the given HTTP cookie header value string. I don't think that's exactly right. Parse encoded. No, it's... Okay, so general idea is I think this is going to be good. So let's, this is named just... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Just cookie. All right, so features. I don't think I need base64, although that could be interesting because I could base64 encode like the token. It would just make it slightly more secure. It's not like necessarily that much more secure, but it'd be nice. I don't think I need percent encoding. We have just equal. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they have... So what does secure give us? Oh, there's also private. Interesting. So automatically encrypt and decrypt. So I'm pretty sure that this is meant to be run on a server as opposed to on a front end. So this will be interesting to see if this this actually works. So a meta feature that simultaneously enables signed, private, and key expansion. Oh, so I don't think I want that at all. We're just gonna want basic, like the basic cookie stuff. Okay, so we're gonna want to parse the cookie. So I have cookie. No, I want that. I want cookie. So I get the cookie from there, and then I get the keys, the cookies, And so I want to parse this. We want cookie so then I could, okay, so I could create like a bunch of cookies sort of in here. But I don't think that's really helpful. So one person told you to create a class with methods that do different kinds of looping. If you want to use looping, you can use that method to do so. This way you reuse the method and don't need to write looping code, everything in functions. When you say looping, are you talking about things like for each to go over it, or are you talking about something else? Because like I would argue that if you're using a language that has like array methods, for example, or iterator loops, then you don't even need that. You don't need that. You also don't need to write loops yourself. You can write. Let me see. Let me show you. Is this JavaScript you're talking about? Yeah, JavaScript. Okay, so quick idea here. So if we have like an array of something, so let our I don't know, array of, we'll just make this really simple and sort of contrived for this example. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So now if I want to loop over these and I want to sort of add them all together, arrays have many different methods for looping on them, and you don't need to create your own sort of like loop. So I could do that for, I could do even like a for in or a for of, but it's completely unnecessary. So I can instead do a for each, for example. So let's say I want to just loop through and grab this out. So I want to do array for each, and then it's a function here. So we'll use the fat arrow method for this, and I'll just grab, this is like a specific element, and I want to just console.log that element. And so if I run this, we get the 1, 2, 3, 4 showing up there. If you want to loop over an object with for in, yeah, that doesn't. So what I would probably do is I wouldn't create a class. I would probably just create a function to loop over the object using for in, and then you can call that. But yeah, objects don't have the same sort of like abilities to do it. But yeah, I would probably still do like a for in over that object. I don't know if like a big class with loops is really all that helpful. If I was going to be doing something like that, then I would probably just update the prototype, which is a little bit dangerous. I think I would rather do the Lodash method, which is just have functions that I call for it. So I could create like function object iter. We take in an object, and I take in an object, and like maybe I could take in like a callback for like what is gonna happen to this. Lodash is like a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, it's a helper, like it's a helper library. So I think I can do this, right? Something like that. That's the default for callback. And then I can say, okay, we'll do a for let key in obj, and then we'll do obj of key, and then I want to call the callback on each of these. And then this is, I can now like run this and pass in the object and pass in my callback and deal with that. That might be a good way to sort of like avoid loops in like the main logic code, and just I'm putting loops only in like a side editor. That being said, I don't really do this myself very often. I would usually pull out Lodash for something like this, or I would go, or I would just create the loop, or just find some other method to do it, like converting into an array or something like that, or have arrays in the objects as well. The big thing is, remember, in objects, the order is not guaranteed. So you, the iteration over could cause interesting behavior if you're like sort of expecting it to happen in any specific order. So anyways, that's that. We do Lodash. This is Lodash. It has all sorts of fun stuff for you to look at. So if you want, and let's see, if you want to iterate over an object, let's see, is it a collection? It might be a collection. It's like a for each. Yeah, so here's this like underscore or Lodash for each. And then there's this object here, and then a callback to iterate over that object, and you get a value in the key, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So this is essentially the same thing, except Lodash does it. Why they use underscore for Lodash? So before there was Lodash, there was underscore. Like literally, the name of the library was underscore. But because it was a utility library and used all over the place, it was sort of, you would import it as underscore, just like the underscore character. And then Lodash came around and sort of like was a competitor to it, and eventually won, in my opinion. And it's very clever naming, right? So it's like they wanted to be the same as Lodash, but they can't be they want to be the same as underscore, so they just named themselves Lodash because they're a low dash. So fun naming things in JavaScript. So anyways, I know it's super clever. I actually like Lodash a lot. I think it's great. You wish you were that clever? Just wait until you have to name something, and you keep on running into problems with naming it, and then eventually you just run into the clever ones. That gets interesting. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take off for the day. I have to head off to work. So we're going to be coming back tomorrow to sort of continue with parsing cookies, and dealing with them. So how can you improve your IQ? Practice, just working on stuff. I don't know if, coming up with clever names is an IQ thing. It's really just like growth mindset, is where you want to go. So if you want to learn more about that, there is a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, I want to say, which is an excellent read. Sort of like talks about how a growth mindset can really help out, and like really can make you grow and learn constantly. So it's not really about your IQ and raising it. It's about just constant improvement. But that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time, where we'll work on cookies. With that, Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.